I call it the compassionate observer. Same thing, the witness, but I call it the compassionate observer because you want to look at yourself with compassion. Oh, yeah, that's how I learned to do it, to judge myself in that way. And now I get to do it differently.
When I first came across a video of someone using EFT, emotional freedom techniques, which is also known as tapping, I thought, what is this crazy ass guy doing? Repeating phrases and tapping on different places on his body? Fast forward a few years, and I've learned a little bit more about it and even played around with tapping. But it still felt kind of weird, and I keep getting caught up in whether or not I was doing it right. I've heard a lot about the benefits of tapping, and that's why I'm so glad to have Ruthi Joyner with me today. Ruthi is an EFT and matrix reimprinting practitioner, hypnotherapist, and nutritionist, and she is joining us today. We are chatting about what is EFT and how we can incorporate it into our day, and Ruthi guides us through a simple tapping exercise. We also chat about self-care and why we all need some element of it. I also share a funny tip on how to know if you need more self-care in your life. My favorite form of self-care is journaling. And if you don't already have a self-care routine, journaling is a great place to start. I have a new guided journal, Your Journaling Journey, which includes prompts, gratitude, affirmations, and valuable tools. Not to mention over $200 in bonuses, including a free trial to Nectar, our online community. Search for Your Journaling Journey on Amazon. Now buckle up. It's time for today's show. This is the Roller Coaster Podcast. We are here to help you be empowered and renew your sense of purpose as a midlife mom. This is your time to redefine and reclaim your power as a woman. Just because our kids are getting older doesn't mean that our lives still don't have crazy twists, turns, ups and downs. And that's not to mention what our hormones are doing. We're navigating helping our kids plan their next chapters while quietly wondering, what the heck does my next chapter look like? My name is Lucy Q, wife, mom, podcaster, and journaling mentor. This is a crazy time in your life, but you are not alone. So I'm inviting you to throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Roller coaster. Life is like.
Welcome to the roller coaster, Ruthi.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, today it's all going to be about EFT, which is the emotional freedom technique. We're going to be chatting about juggling the demands of motherhood, self-care. But first, Ruthi, I'm curious, what started you on the journey to discover EFT?
Well, Lucy, one of my lifelong issues has been eating and weight and food and that long journey that we're not going to get into today. But that is what led me to finding EFT. I found it on the internet in 2009 and I started playing with it. And my original thought was, this is the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen. And I can't imagine this actually does anything for you until I tried it. And then I was like, whoa, there really is something to this. So I started playing with it in 2009. I found a trainer and trained in it in 2012. And so now for the last almost 11 years now, I've been an EFT practitioner and love sharing it with women. I only work with women. I don't work with children or men. And it is so life-changing. It is just so beautiful to help people, for example, release some of their I'm not good enough, some of their stress and overwhelm, whatever it may be, and help them step more into their own power and worth. And it's a life-changing thing. So sorry, I get a little passionate about it.
No, I'm actually really glad that you said that when you first saw it, you thought it was a bit ridiculous. Because
Yeah.
I first saw it a few years ago and I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is stupid. And then all I could picture is myself sitting there, tapping, and I'm like, I must look like a fool. So
Yes.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think there's a lot of people out there that might be curious, but they're thinking the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's just start at the very beginning.
Okay.
What is EFT?
Okay. So the way I learned it is emotional freedom techniques. And I noticed you said technique. I learned techniques because there's more than one technique to it. Or tapping for short. So a lot of times today you see it as EFT tapping, and it's where we literally tap on the meridian endpoints that are the same ones used in traditional Chinese medicine. So acupuncture, acupressure, anything like that, but you can do it for yourself. So that's one of the beautiful things about it, is that it is a self-help tool. And what I tell my clients is it's like your dental health. You brush your teeth every day, you take care of your teeth at home, and you go to the dentist if you have issues, right? And for checkups or whatever. And I see EFT the same way, meaning learn to use it for yourself. There's many videos on YouTube. I even have my own channel. I mean, there's thousands of them, so to help you get started with it. And then if you want to heal things from the past, if you want to deal with specific issues, then you find a practitioner to work with. So that's a piece of what EFT is.
So why are we tapping on the meridians?
Great question. So my understanding, and I word it that way because somebody else would say it a little bit differently, is that when you tap on those meridian points, you're literally lowering your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone. And so you can lower your stress hormone, the cortisol, by like 40% in a short period of time with tapping. So we talk about the 3 C's of tapping. That's calm, clear, and create. The 3 C's: calm, clear, and create. So you're literally calming the nervous system, clearing whatever it is you want to clear. So it could be a phobia, it could be a craving for a donut, it could be the belief I'm not good enough, it could be stress. I mean, there's many things that we use it for. So you clear whatever you need to clear, and then you can create. You can create what you want to create in life. So it really is a beautiful way of working with the nervous system and calming yourself so that you can think clearly and function better in life.
Okay, this might be a weird question, but can you do it wrong?
I don't think you can. So
Okay.
the original founder of what was called TFT, thought field therapy, which still exists, was Roger Callahan. And he taught it in a way where there are specific algorithms for different things you were working on. And then Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, came along, did the training with Roger Callahan. Well, Gary Craig was an engineer, and he said, simplify it. There's no reason why you need to do this complicated algorithm. And basically, the way I teach it, and there were more points in the beginning, and there's the long method. Today we do the short method, most likely. There's 9 points that we use most commonly. And you can use those 9 points for anything. So there isn't a way to do it wrong. If you miss a point, oh well, who cares? So these meridian points are connected to different systems in the body. So if I remember correctly, under the eye is connected to the digestive system. I could be wrong about that. And the reason I don't have those memorized is because by doing the different points, you don't have to know where it's working or what it's doing in the body. There's no need to memorize it because you're touching all the meridians you need to work with your body.
Okay, that's good to know, because I've dabbled with EFT a few times, but you get caught up in your own head. Am I doing it right? Am I tapping exactly in the same spot that I'm supposed to? And it's like, oh, I did this one before that one. And so it becomes, you stay in your head rather than actually getting into the whole purpose of the exercise. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad that you sort of shared that point.
Well, I want to say one other thing about that. So Gwyneth Moss, who is an EFT trainer in the UK, brings a can of WD-40 to her trainings. And you know how the can of WD-40 has a long straw that comes out of it to
Yeah.
pinpoint where you want to get the stuff for the squeaks or whatever. And she says that the tapping is like what's inside the can of the WD-40. It's what works. It's what makes it work. The words are what you're saying to try to pinpoint what you're doing. They're not as important as actually tapping. And if you tap this point or that point, doesn't really matter. So I will share the points with everyone today. And then, you can find them online. I've got them on my website. You can look them up. But if you don't get it specific, oh well, it's not that important.
Okay. That's such a huge relief,
Yeah.
like massive relief, because that takes all of the pressure off. At
Yes.
least from my perspective. Okay.
Yes.
So there's two things I want to tackle next. One is how we identify when we need to use tapping. If we're using it just for, say, general care, where we're
Yes.
doing it at a certain time every day, or do we use it situational?
Okay.
And then I'm wondering if maybe you'll take us for a swing around the old EFT route, just so we can get a feel for it.
Oh, I would love to do that. So to
Okay.
answer your questions, so yes, there are two ways you can use it for yourself on a regular basis. And the first is tapping like you would do meditation or prayer or journaling, or, just as sort of your everyday self-care, back to the brushing your teeth, something that you do for self-care. And that can be a specific time of day if you want. And the term I've heard for that is energy toning. And that comes from Steve Wells in Australia, whose website is EFT Down Under. So he talks about doing energy toning, and he says that he taps for about 45 minutes a day. When he goes for a walk, he taps. So when he's walking, he's tapping. He walks the dog and he taps. Okay, that's one way of doing it. You don't have to do it for 45 minutes. It can
That's
be for 3
dedication.
minutes. Yeah, yeah. And actually on my YouTube channel, I have a video called Daily Tapping Meditation. It's the first one I put on there, and it's audio. It's not even a video one. And it's my favorite one because it's just uplifting tapping. It's not getting into any of what's going on in your life. It's just uplifting. 3 minutes long. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is when the kids are stressing you out, or you're just feeling so upset or angry and you're about to, flip your lid and yell at the kids or whatever. Beautiful time to tap when you're feeling stressed, and you don't have to have words. I love silent tapping. You can just start tapping and taking deep breaths, and it'll calm you down in about a minute or two. Actually, in a minute. So it's a lovely thing to do just when you get freaked out. You get that upsetting email or phone call or text, or, back to the kids or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
great way to calm yourself.
Certainly, if the kids are ticking you off and they see you stop and start tapping, they're going to go, what? They're going to leave you alone.
Well, hopefully you teach it to them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's great for kids to learn to handle their emotions. It's a great way for kids to resource themselves. And what I mean by that is to have a way to calm themselves so they don't have temper tantrums or freak out. So yeah, I know people that start teaching it to their kids very young, and there's several books. And of course, there's things on YouTube for children.
Oh, great. Great. I didn't think of that one. Okay.
And
So,
coming into the schools now. There's a
oh,
lot
really?
of tapping coming into the schools. Absolutely. There's I think it's an international conference for tapping in schools now.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
good. I'm
Growing.
sure the teachers love it.
Absolutely. It gives them a chance to calm themselves, right?
Calm themselves and calm the class and just,
Exactly.
bring a baseline back. Okay. So do you want to go over the points we're going to tap and then
Yeah.
take us through an actual tapping
Yep.
process?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So what we'll do today is we're just going to tap on stress, because everybody has stress. That's a simple, easy place to start. And the way we evaluate how we're doing is we use a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being super high, 0 being gone. So right now, Lucy, just for fun, what is your stress level 0 to 10?
I'm probably at a 4.
Okay, so you're relatively low right now.
Yeah.
So everybody listening, if you will, go ahead and get that number for yourself so that when we do the tapping, and I like to do this before I even tell you the points, because once you start tapping, it'll start lowering. So I like to get that number to begin with. So everybody go ahead and get your own number, how stressed out you are, 0 to 10, 10 super high, 0 none. Okay, now I will tell you the points. So the first point is what we call the side of the hand, and it is under the pinky finger. So it's the side under the pinky finger. And we generally use 4 fingers for this, or you can use the other hand in whatever way, but I like to use 4 fingers, and we do what's called a set up phrase or balancing statement here. And it will be something like, even though I feel so stressed, I'm okay. So the balancing part is, even though this is going on, whatever this is, even though I'm so angry at my brother, even though I can't believe Susie spilled her milk again, even, whatever it is that's going on, and we're just going to say stress today, something positive. I'm okay. I'm accepting how I feel. I'm safe, something positive. And we generally do that 3 times on the side of the hand, which is under the pinky finger. And then we do a round, and I start at the eyebrow point. So the eyebrow is right between your 2 eyebrows. So I tell women it's the Botox point. If you were going to get Botox, it's where you would get Botox. So it's right in between the eyebrows, not up on the forehead, generally with 2 fingers, and you're gently tapping and doing a reminder phrase. And here again, we're speaking the truth. So it may be something like, I feel stressed. And just a little piece of information here, it's better to say I feel than I am, because I am is owning it like it's part of who you are. And you want to not own stress in that way, not own anger in that way, or whatever it is you're feeling, it's a feeling. And so we just want to say, I feel. So the second point, so the first one's the side of the hand. The second one is right between the eyebrows. Our third point is the side of the eye, and this is the outside of the eye, not far back on the temple, but just right next to the eye on the bone. And you can do 1 side or 2, whichever feels more comfortable. And you're just, again, doing 2 fingers, and we'll do another reminder phrase. So when we do this in a minute, you'll be repeating it after me. And so Lucy's going to repeat it after me so you guys can join in with her. And the next point is under the eye. So this is, again, right on the bone, and you're gently tapping. The next point is under the nose. And go ahead and do the tapping with me while I'm telling them to you, so you can just start feeling the effects, that you'll literally start calming just by doing it. And our next point is called the chin point, but it's actually the little indentation between the lip and the chin. So some people say under the lip, but chin is faster to say. So again, it's just that little indentation. Again, gently tapping. Our next point's a little bit harder to explain. So you want to find your collarbones. So on one side or both, you want to feel around till you find your collarbones, and then go down about 1 inch and out about 1 inch closer to the shoulder. So for those of you that think in centimeters, that's about 2.5 centimeters down and 2.5 out. And this is my favorite point. This is the one I teach to kids. If they're little and you don't want to bother with all the points, this is the one to teach. And you can see this on YouTube or wherever if you're having trouble understanding exactly where it is. Our next point is the underarm point. And ladies, it's about the bottom of the bra line, or about 4 inches below the underarm. I don't know what that is in centimeters off the top of my head. Anyway, you can do the same side of the body or cross body, whichever is more comfortable for you. So I can see Lucy. I know you guys can't. She's doing cross body and I'm doing same side. So they both work just fine.
You're using the one arm to tap on the side?
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's more comfortable for me. I know some people say, I can't do that. It doesn't work.
Like, how do you do that?
It kind of depends on how well endowed you are, which side works a little better. But it doesn't, that doesn't
I guess I'm
always.
just squishing my ladies a bit.
That doesn't really matter for some people. Anyway, the last point is the top of the head, right on the crown of the head. So that was 9 points. I'm just going to say them again one time real quickly. Side of the hand, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm, top of the head. Don't worry about remembering them because we're going to do this together. Okay, one last thing I want to tell you before we start tapping, in case it happens for either one of us and you hear it, is it's actually very good if you yawn, sigh, or even burp. Those are all signs of energy movement and are a good thing. And I'm like Pavlov's dog. I often yawn when I tap. So I'm telling you that. So if I
You're
yawn,
gonna
you'll
make me
understand.
yawn.
But it
Okay.
doesn't mean I'm bored. It means it's working. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody to take a moment. If you're in a place you can, if you're driving, don't do this. Close your eyes and just take a deep breath before we start. And tune in to your stress, how you're feeling stress. And let's go to the side of the hand. And Lucy's going to repeat after me. Even though I'm feeling so stressed,
Even though I'm feeling so stressed,
right here and right now, I'm okay.
right here and right now, I'm okay.
So even though I'm feeling so much stress,
Even though I'm feeling so much stress,
there's so much going on in my life
there's so much going on in my life
and in the world.
and in the world.
And yet, right here and right now, I'm okay.
And yet, right here and right now, I am okay.
So even though I'm feeling so much stress,
Even though I'm feeling so much stress,
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that I can release and let some of this go.
that I can release and let some of this go.
All right, before we go around the points, if you want to take a deep breath here, feel free to do it. If not, don't. All right, going to the eyebrow point, right between the eyebrows. I'm feeling so stressed.
I'm feeling so stressed.
Side of the eye, so much stress.
So much stress.
Under the eye, so much stress in my life.
So much stress in my life.
Under the nose, so much to deal with.
So much to deal with.
Chin, sometimes I just feel overwhelmed.
Sometimes I just feel overwhelmed.
Collarbone, so much stress.
So much stress.
Under the arm, just acknowledging how I feel.
I'm just acknowledging how I feel.
Top of the head, all the stress in my life.
All the stress in my life.
Okay, stop tapping for a moment. We're going to do one more round, but before we do that round, I just want you to tune back in to your stress level and notice where you started, so what that number was, and notice if it's gone up or down or stayed the same. So Lucy, I'm going to ask you, you started with the 4. Where is it now?
It's definitely going to a 3 or a 2.
Beautiful. That is the most common, that it goes down 1 or 2 points, even with just one round, but sometimes it goes up. So sometimes as you're paying more attention to whatever's going on, it goes up first, and that's okay. And sometimes it doesn't change at all with one round. So now we're going to switch to the possibilities and the positives. So I'm kind of squishing this together for time purposes. So normally when I work with people, we'd spend a lot of time on that first part until things really start coming down. But for us today, we're just going to go ahead and switch to possibilities. So going back to the side of the hand, even though I'm feeling all this stress,
Even though I'm feeling all this stress,
I wonder if I could see things differently.
I wonder if I could see things differently.
So even though there's still a lot of stress in my life,
So even though there's still a lot of stress in my life,
I'm choosing to allow myself to feel a little calmer
I'm choosing to allow myself to feel a little calmer
and be open to a new possibility.
and be open to a new possibility.
So even though there's still stress in my life,
So even though there's still stress in my life,
I'm open to releasing and letting it go.
I'm open to releasing and letting it go.
All right, back to the eyebrow point. I wonder if I can let go of some of this stress.
I wonder if I can let go of some of the stress.
Side of the eye. I wonder if it's possible for me to let some go.
I wonder if it's possible for me to let some go.
Under the eye. Wouldn't it be cool if I could let this go?
Wouldn't it be cool if I could let this go?
Under the nose. Wouldn't it be cool if I could bring in some calm and peaceful energy?
Wouldn't it be cool if I could bring in some calm and peaceful energy?
Chin. I'm choosing to bring in some calm and peaceful energy.
I'm choosing to bring in some calm and peaceful energy.
Collarbone. I'm releasing some of this stress and overwhelm.
I'm releasing some of the stress and overwhelm.
Under the arm, releasing and letting it go.
Releasing and letting it go.
Top of the head. And I'm bringing in calm and peaceful energy.
And I'm bringing in calm and peaceful energy.
And I am so, so grateful.
And I am so, so grateful.
All right, let's stop tapping. Take another deep breath. Tune back in and notice where your stress level is. So what's yours now, Lucy?
It's definitely sort of around that too. For me, I carry my stress, or what I carry it in my jaw and my neck. It's just like cement.
Yes.
And that's where when you said to feel it and to put a number
Mhm.
to it, that's where I turned my focus. And then, as we did the 2 check-ins, that's where I could feel it starting to come down.
I am so glad you brought that up, Lucy, because a lot of times I go into the body sensations because we do carry whatever it is in our bodies. So that is a beautiful way to get into it. So most of the time I'll start with the emotion, then I'll go into the body sensations. Where do you carry it? And the jaw and the shoulders, or the neck and shoulders, are very common for stress. And like fear is often in the stomach. Sadness is in the heart. We have places where we carry things in general. And so I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's definitely a great place to tap.
And it didn't take long, just to you can feel it, the tension, and then something just kind of, it's like pulling an elastic band tight and then just slowly sort of letting it shrink back. That's sort of the feeling that I had in, that the tension areas that I have. It was just starting to just, okay, loosen up a bit, loosen up a bit.
I like that analogy. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Just my crazy ass thoughts sometimes.
It works though.
Now, I just wanted to sort of touch on the words that we're using. And I know that there's, you have to acknowledge it's there, and you sort of go through the process of acknowledging, call it your pain point, what you're
Yeah, I
feeling.
call it truth telling.
Truth telling.
Yeah. So, you've heard the term spiritual bypassing. Well, I don't think affirmations work or anything positive until you've dealt with what's really going on. So in EFT, we're very honest about what we're really feeling in the beginning. And so for people wanting to do this for themselves, and back to this scale of 0 to 10, from 6 to 10, usually that's where I focus on the negatives, or if you want to call it negatives, what's really going on, the stress, the worry, the anxiousness, whatever it is. Then when people tell me they're around 4 to 6 is where I bring those possibilities in. That I wonder if it's possible. Wouldn't it be cool if? Those kind of things, so that your mind starts going, well, I wonder if I could see this differently. I wonder if I could let some of this go. When you're in that 4 to 6 place, it doesn't work when you're at a 10. You don't start with, I'm letting it go, when you're in the thick
Like,
of
hell
it.
no.
Exactly. Yeah, this is ridiculous. That's when you really look at tapping, you go, yeah, that's stupid, because it doesn't work for you when you're in that space, right? And then when you get down to the 1 to 3 is where I bring in, I choose to. And I love the word choose, because it gives you choice instead of I am calm. Well, I am calm, if you're not feeling it yet, doesn't work. If you're saying I'm choose to be calm, then it gives you the possibility of, well, am I ready to choose I'm calm? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So it's just, that's how I have found it works best anyway.
Well, something obviously worked, because I'm trying not to yawn too loudly right now.
Well, and I felt
That is
myself
what
sigh in the second round. So yeah.
I can feel it. And I'm like, I'm giggling because I'm trying not to yawn, but it's like, I know it's got to come out. So it's going to come out in a really odd time.
I'll let it come out. I just one more thing before we do this. I just want to mention cravings. I know we're not talking about emotional eating today, but cravings, when there's specific foods that you crave, and I do a free cravings call with people, 30-minute call if anybody wants to try this out. When you tap on something you crave, like brownies is one of my favorite things. When you tap on it, you find out what it is you're really craving. And a lot of times what you're really craving is either rest or connection or to be seen and heard. So it's never about the food, it's always about what you need. So just thought I'd throw that out for fun.
I'm just going to throw this out there. So if I'm craving a glass of wine, maybe it's because I need to relax.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not, there's no reason not to have a glass of wine, but if it's a bottle of wine and you're wanting to feel more in control, then cravings tapping might be useful. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of
Yeah.
your relationship with the food or the drink. Um, if it's not feeling like you're in control anymore, then it may be worth going, okay, I think 10 brownies in 2 days was too many. I need to find out what's going on here. See what I'm saying?
And we can use it for other things like removing limiting beliefs, right?
Oh, absolutely. My favorite thing to work on, actually.
And the one that you brought up earlier, and I think this is something that pretty much everybody can relate to, is that, I'm not good enough.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Lucy, because that's been my focus this year. I mean, every workshop I've done, I've got another one coming up on Zoom in November, is on worthiness. And what I call it is the unworthiness identity, that all of us have some version of I'm not good enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. I don't make enough money. Whatever your story is, the reality is it comes from somewhere in childhood, most likely. And when we go back to the root and we heal it at the root level, you're able to start making different choices. You're able to start paying more attention when you start, oh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so stupid. You know what I mean? When you start hearing the negative self-talk, you can start hearing it and go, oh yeah, that's how I used to be. That's who I was. Now I can see things differently and do things differently. But again, you can't do that until you start doing the deeper healing work, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's important to highlight that when you're in that position of still carrying whatever limiting belief, it can be hard to see yourself ever being able to be the witness of those feelings. You know
Yes,
what
I
I
call it the
mean? I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
I'm
I call
explaining
it the
myself right. Like, it's now that I've done that deep work and I've cleared a lot of the limiting beliefs, instead of feeling like the victim when
yes.
things come up, I can look at them now from the perspective, I want to call it, witness, where you're like, oh, that's why. Or it's like, oh shit, that's that thing again that I do.
Yes,
Or,
and I call it the compassionate observer. Same thing, the witness, but I call it the compassionate observer because you want to look at yourself with compassion. Oh yeah, that's how I learned to do it, to judge myself in that way. And now I get to do it differently. So I have one more thing to share. 3 N's is a little thing I made up with my friend Deanna Lyons a few years ago. The 3 N's are notice it, name it, choose new. So exactly what you said, Lucy, when you're able to witness those thoughts, that old way of doing it, you get to notice it, the awareness, the consciousness, the witnessing, and then you can name it. Oh yeah, this is an old pattern. This is the old way I've been doing it for decades. Now I get to choose new, the 3 N. So notice it, name it, choose new. It's just I don't know. I'm really into ways of remembering things.
no, I love that. That's perfect. Now we've
Thank you.
covered a lot. We've talked a
Yes.
lot about EFT, and EFT is really, it's a form of self-care.
Yes.
And it's something that women, no matter what season of life that you're in, if you don't have a self-care practice, you really, it's not a nice to have thing. You have to have it, and take it from somebody that didn't have it and hit rock bottom. Yeah. Even if you take a few minutes with Ruthie's methods and, start doing a little bit of tapping, start building that into your day, even if you're doing it when you're taking a pee
Yeah,
because you're afraid anyone's going to see you do it, just
absolutely.
find those few minutes to start doing something for yourself. Because, for me, my journey over the last 5 years of going from rock bottom to where I am now, I can't even begin to explain the difference in who I am. It's transformational. And it starts with those little things that we choose to do for ourselves.
Absolutely. 500% agree with you. You can't give from an empty well. If you're not taking care of yourself, you just get into a space of resentment and anger, and everything drives you crazy. You stay irritated. The world sucks. There's that whole way of being that all of us can relate to, right? Because we've all been there. And like you said, hitting rock bottom, you kind of have to realize this is not working. And then
Yeah.
you start trying it, whatever it is, meditation or tapping or journaling, whatever it is. I mean, those are some of my favorites. Dancing is the one I'm really getting into now, and yoga, any kind of movement, time with your kids, time with your pets, time with your kids when you're able to be present and in a loving way, not when you're, in that place. But yeah,
Yeah. A good tip that you need to have more self-care is if resting bitch face is your constant expression,
yes,
then maybe you need to have more self-care.
absolutely. Great way of putting it.
As we wrap up today, Ruthie, do you have any final words of wisdom to share with our listeners?
Yeah, gentleness and compassion with yourself, man. We all have our stuff. We all have trauma in our lives in whatever way. And the more we can be compassionate and gentle with ourselves, the better off we'll be. And that's easier
Beautiful.
said than done. We're used to judging ourselves, and the world tells us we're supposed to. You're not doing enough. Let go of that shit and just be nice to yourself.
Amen. And
Yeah.
where can people connect with you?
So my website is yourtappingjourney.com, and the EFT stuff. So there's a section that says work with me, and then a drop down under it that says what is EFT. You're probably not going to remember all that, but just go to yourtappingjourney.com. I'm on Insight Timer. I'm a teacher on the meditation app Insight Timer. I've got meditations on there, and I do Insight Lives Tuesdays at 1 Eastern. I'm Ruthie Taps on Instagram, but I don't really like Instagram, so I don't get there much. And my Facebook group is A Journey to Self-Love. So that's where I just share a lot of positive, uplifting things. So A Journey to Self-Love on Facebook.
Fantastic. Now, we've mentioned this a couple of times in our conversation today, but another great way to build or enhance your self-care routine is by journaling. And my new
Yes.
90-day guided journal, Your Journaling Journey, is available now on Amazon. It includes prompts, gratitude, affirmations, and valuable tools. Not to mention, I've included over $200 in bonuses, including a free trial to our online community, Nectar. You can search for Your Journaling Journey on Amazon. Make sure you check out the show notes to get links to Your Journaling Journey and to connect with Ruthie. And Ruthie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Lucy. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed tapping with you and your audience.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creator.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby.